So I will go ahead and turn it over to Coach and let him start with a statement, and then we'll open it up to questions.
All right, good morning. Appreciate you guys being on here. We obviously we've got a postponement in our game here tonight, making that game up on March 24th. So good stuff on that. Coming off a good weekend, 5-0. Thought we're starting to swing the bats a little bit better, especially against Tulsa, which traditionally has really good arms and somebody that we've struggled with. So felt like we played very, very well, dominated in a lot of ways. And that game, that Carey pitched extremely well. We made some nice plays, and then 4 other wins on the weekend, and it's good to see some kids kind of staying hot, some kids getting hot. It's good to see Pennington starting to kind of get herself going. Busby's starting to climb back up. Obviously February, Cheyenne Factor, Chelsea playing well, playing at a high level, and it's going to take that for us to continue to be very, very good. So with that being said, we'll open up for some questions. It's froze.
Yeah, I think she's on it.
There we go.
Kind of jammed up on us there a little bit.
Yeah, got all froze up. So did you guys hear everything I said, or?
Basically, you left off on Busby.
Obviously she's starting to get going. I don't know if you got to Pennington, if you heard that, thought she's starting to really swing the bat well. And obviously February and Alexander and Factor continue to play at a high level. So Kylie's also another one that's kind of been raising her average a bunch, probably raised it 50 to 60 points this weekend, doing some good things. Obviously continue to play really good defense and starting to get her walks to kind of equal out on her strikeouts, which is where she needs, to be. And been working really hard. She has to kind of shore up some things in her swing. So I feel like we're in a good place, and I'll just open it up for some questions.
Coach, I figured with Jordan getting on the call, it'd be a little appropriate to ask you about some diving catches. She's kind of made that her specialty here early in the season so far a little bit. First off, I'll ask you, is the diving catch, is that something you can teach or practice, or, is that just kind of instinct?
Yeah, it's probably just instinct. She had all those really good catches the weekend that we were gone, or the week that we were gone out in playing LSU, and UL played very, very well and continues to play well out there. So I don't know. It's just, she's an athlete. She's got good instincts. We're not practicing diving, to be, if that's what you're asking. She knows when she can dive, when she shouldn't dive. And so far she's made a lot of really good decisions and all that. So very happy with the way she's played outfield up to this point.
And how important is that for, not only being able to, make the catch or not, but how important is that to have a good, a good mind of, hey, I should dive, the outfielders are coming over, kind of judging the scenario, risk reward. How important is that, kind of the mental aspect of even deciding to attempt a diving catch?
Yeah, you probably have to ask her that because everybody's a little bit different. But she's been coached very well since she was a young kid. She played for some good travel organizations, and she's got a lot of people around her that have helped her get to this point. So, she just has the good instincts, the good feel of when she can and when she can't. She's a smart kid. She knows, if you watch her hit, she goes through the same process each time. She doesn't let the game speed up. She just does what she's got to do. And so, again, when you've been brought up around, good coaching and playing good travel softball, she's been in these situations a bunch, so it's just pretty normal to her.
And then switching topics quite a bit, I couldn't help but notice that kind of about 15 minutes before the first pitch, the team plays a pretty spirited game of hacky sack. I know that's kind of when you're exchanging lineup cards at all, but the first question I'll ask you is, have you ever participated in some of those games?
No shot. Never.
Now, who came up with playing hacky sack before the games? Is it a new thing or is it kind of a tradition?
No, I think it's something that a lot of schools do. A lot of schools play hacky sack for some reason. To be very honest, it drives me crazy, but it's what they like. So I just got to learn to get over it. Most coaches would probably rather their kids be trying to get focused, but I think for us, it's their way of staying loose and having some fun and doing all that. So I would never want to take it away, but I would tell you that most coaches probably cringe when they see their kids out there doing hacky sack and all that. But I know that they have fun and they love it. And it's not my job to dictate what they do and don't like.
That's interesting. I had no idea. But I guess can you maybe extrapolate some benefit to it from maybe keeping warm and a little stretching, a little hand-eye coordination before? Do you think it might help at all?
No, not one bit. Not one bit. Maybe if you played soccer, but I don't know how that could keep you warm or anything. I think this is just something that they do to just to have fun and compete and kind of laugh and goof around. So, I think softball is kind of known for being goofy and having a blast. And so it's just one of their things that they really like.
Coach, as always, I really appreciate the honesty.
You got it. You got it.
Hey, Coach, I remember last week we were talking about just the recruiting process, and you said the team kind of plays a big part in bringing in some of these transfers. I remember we talked more specifically about Eberly last week, but can you talk about kind of the influence Febri had bringing Doggett here?
Yeah, huge impact. As a matter of fact, I actually got word through Allison that Jordan was in the portal. I think I had to kind of go back and kind of think about all this, but Allison had asked me if we were looking for, I think the conversation started out as, are we looking at bringing anybody in? And I said, yes, we could use another infielder. I'd like to have a left-handed hitter. If they could play outfield too, it'd be a really good thing. And she goes, hey, I think I may have somebody that you may have some interest in that I think could really help us. And so she asked, so I asked her, what are you talking about? And she said, Jordan. And I was like, okay, I already knew about Jordan. I already knew that name. When I was recruiting at the University of Florida, she was playing on a team that we were recruiting a girl from. So I'd see Jordan play, but it'd been a while since I'd really focused on her as a player because we weren't recruiting her at that time. And then she's at Georgia, so I'm not really paying close attention to those kids. But I immediately was able to go look at some game film and game stuff, pull it up easy and watch her and go, ooh, I think she could really help us. So, as a coach, we have to verify that they're on the portal. Once we verify all that, then we start making calls. Jordan, I could tell that she was itching. I felt like she really liked OSU. And I think she liked what she heard from Allison. And so it went actually pretty fast. And it's kind of cool. It's what it's all about. I mean, it's really, these guys were friends at Georgia and they continued to be friends here. I don't know that they're best friends, but they get along well. They're not void of having to work on their relationship like everybody else, but it's beautiful to see. It's kind of what being on really good teams is and what really good culture is, that Jordan can come in here. And I don't think, if you asked her, I'd be curious to see what she said, but I don't think it's been the easiest move for Jordan. She really had to, it was the first time that she'd really been away from home. I personally, I felt like, we had a struggle in the fall. We had to really work through some things. I still really work to gain her trust. And I think we're in a way better place than where we were in the fall. And it's really what coaching is kind of all about. It's watching these kids grow, watching them get out of their comfort zone, watching them mature as people. They're already really good at softball. So it's like, if we can get all the other stuff off the field good and relationship good, they just do what they do. And they're all really good at this game. So Allison had a huge impact. I think Jordan could probably tell you more of that. I hit it off with Jordan pretty fast. I kind of liked what she was wanting and felt like it was a perfect need for us. And, we're sitting here now. She started every game and played very, very well. And don't let her stats fool you. I don't think she's hitting as high as she would like to hit. But she's one of the kids I would like to have up in a clutch, crucial type situation. I know I'm going to get a good at bat out of her every time. And it's really cool to see. So, hopefully, Jordan will be able to help us in due time with other kids if they have interest. And that's just how this thing has kind of worked.
And then I remember reading the other day that Busby's father was a pitcher for the Cardinals in the 90s. When when you were recruiting her to come to OSU, was that kind of talked about at all, like the influence he had on her?
Well, I actually recruited or saw Hayley play a bunch in travel ball. When I was at Florida, we were recruiting a girl that was on her team. So I got to see Hayley play a bunch during that time. And then, as far as her dad, I mean, I'm a baseball guy. So I think when we talk to parents and stuff, it's easy conversation. But, if you ever seen him, he's a big old dude and really, he was a great player, obviously, to play in the big leagues with the Cardinals. And he knows a lot about the game. And I think that's where Hayley's got a lot of her instincts and kind of savviness from, is from probably watching and seeing growing up with a dad who played in the big leagues, you know what I mean? So that's probably an advantage for most kids that play. So I just talked to him a little bit about, we know some same people. I played with a guy at OU named Kevin Levenger, and him and Mike are really close. They still talk, and I don't even know if Hayley knows that, but so we kind of every once in a while you get on a little text chain with those guys and just talk and laugh about stories and stuff like that. But I don't get too much in, to that. I'm recruiting the kid more than I'm recruiting the parent, although the parents are a huge deal as we go through with all this stuff. So, it's kind of neat to see. And, but it didn't have any bearing on, if we were going to take Hayley or not.
Right. Thank you so much, Coach.
Got it.
Coach, a lot of talk about transfers, obviously, with, Hayley and Jordan coming in, and it's something obviously that you've done well with here over the years. Kind of one of the concerns that you can run into sometimes with transfers is chemistry, like blending in and kind of cultural type of things. You watch the team play at home for the first time here this past week, and it looks like they're having fun. What's kind of your read on how all that is coming together?
I think it's really come together here over the last probably, 5 or 6 weeks. I had mentioned to you guys early on in these Zooms that I can't wait to get our kids on the bus. And that's where teams seem to really kind of gel and kind of come together. This has been by far the hardest year I've had trying to gel all that group. And we have some I don't know what the correct word is, but we have some tough nuts here. Like Jordan's a tough kid to coach. Allison's a tough kid to coach. You start going around but I wouldn't want to get either way. It's what attracted me to them for our program was their mentality. And so you have to be able to manage all that and take some chances. And, you know, like we can help them, they can help me, and help me, but help our program in a lot of ways. And, you know, when I was recruiting Jordan in that short time when she hit the portal, the biggest compliment I got about her was from like a hitting guy that we use a lot out of Georgia. His name's Lincoln Martin, and he didn't at the time really didn't even know Jordan a lot. But if I ever had something, there's a kid in Georgia or that area, the Southeast that like I was interested in, he's a guy call. Hey, do you know this kid? Do you know about them? What are they all about? And he gave me something that kind of immediately said, I got to have her. And he said, Jordan Doggett is responsible for the Georgia dog mentality. And that's a big deal to me. Like, I'm like, hey, if she's one of the main cogs and why they play with that chip on their shoulder, I want her here, because that's how we've got to be at OSU. I've said that from day one. This is not OU. This is OSU. And we are a different a type of people here. It's a great down to earth, blue collar, hard working. You know, it's what I love. It's why I'm here. It fits me. And these are the type of kids that I want here. I want these tough nosed kids. And when you have a tough nosed kid, tough kid like Jordan and Allison are, like Shao was, you got to deal with other things. It's just part of it. It's like, you know, you start getting, you know, there's a lot of people that shy away from 5-star kids because they create more work. Okay. I mean, you know, Vanessa Shippey was the hardest kid I've ever coached. She drove me nuts. Like my first year, I debated whether I really wanted her here. And it was because of the way I felt like she questioned me, like she always had an answer. And then I started to realize after my first year, all she wants to do here is win. And then when I got over my ego and got through all that, I was like, why would I want why would I want her any different than what she is? And so that was a real good learning curve for me with Shippy. And then it's really helped me with Shao. It's really helped me with February and Doggett and Carrie and all the kids that we've had here. You know, so I'm a huge proponent of the transfers. As you guys know, I like second chances, or I like second opportunities. It's not like they were bad kids and doing bad things, but maybe it's just a second opportunity that, you know, that maybe they made the wrong choice the first time, and that just happens. It's just life. So, you know, I don't remember what your question was, but hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was just talking about chemistry in the blend.
Yep.
So you're good. Thank you.
Yep.
Coach, before I let you go, I'll ask this question, and I'm not sure exactly how much you can tell me. I ask it mainly out of curiosity. Is, you know, the game tonight being canceled, that was certainly a surprise for me. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly if you can tell me if it was like COVID or whatever, but I know it was kind of just, did that come as a surprise to you, or kind of getting it rescheduled so quickly? Maybe how did that process come about quickly?
Yeah, you know, I think we're all pretty aware that we had a little hiccup with COVID. No big deal. You know, and just out of safety, out of respect to North Texas, respect to our opponents this weekend, we just didn't feel like it made sense if we could move this game. So we didn't cancel. I had a lot of people call me, ask me why we canceled. We didn't cancel. We just postponed. We just moved it. We already have a date set. And I think the biggest thing is, as you go through all this, maybe it comes at the best time for us, because we all need a little reminder of how delicate all this stuff is. But I also don't want to be dealing with this long term. I want to get our arms wrapped around it. Keep our girls safe. That's number one. And make sure that we're ready to go into conference play. And so that's all we've done. There's really no need to panic. We're scheduled to play our games this weekend if the weather's good. The weather looks absolutely awful. I don't even know if it's going to be possible to play. But yeah, it's, it is what it is. We have nothing to hide, nothing to shy away from. We have one positive test, and we're trying to curtail that at one right now. That's the whole thing. So we're going to test here today, test again on Friday. If everything goes well, we'll play our games, and we'll keep going as we've gone.
Thank you. Gotcha.
Yeah. All good? All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
All right, guys, I've got Jordan Doggett for you.
Hi, Jordan.
Hello.
Okay, I want to ask you, I guess first off, I'll introduce myself since you're one of the players I haven't talked to yet. I'm Sam, I'm with the Ocali, so I'll be covering the team along with Dean all year long. So before I jump in with questions, I wanted to say hi. My first question is about diving catches. That was kind of the first thing I noticed is, in left field, you tend to have that ability to make some spectacular catches. I'll ask first, what is the art of the diving catch? Do you kind of consider yourself good at the diving catch, or is that just something you like to attempt? Kind of just walk me through a play.
Well, at practice we do a lot of like live reads off the bat, and so I think that's helped me. Excuse me, my allergies are really bad right now. That's helped me to like know which balls to go for, which balls not to go for. And I knew in those situations that we needed those balls caught to, cut their momentum or to keep a runner from advancing or scoring. So in my mind, I was like, if I can catch this ball, I'm going to catch it. If I can't catch it, I'm going to keep it in front and get it to my cut, get it as fast as I can. But I just felt like I got a really good read off of each player, and I could kind of tell in their swing what their tendencies were and where the ball might go. So I don't really practice diving for balls like that. I kind of just trust that I'm fast enough to get there and trust that I'm going to go when I need to go.
And obviously the for diving catches, it's kind of more than whether you can make the catch or not. It's like you have to make a decision of is it worth it to attempt. It's kind of a risk reward play. So how important is it? Maybe like what do you judge? Like runners on, the score, the inning, like how close your fielders are to backing you up. Kind of what do you have to keep in mind before attempting something like that?
So for those three specific catches, I guess the one I was going towards center, I knew if I missed it that Shy was going to have my back. I knew she was going to get it and get it in. That ball, I was like, I'm going to try my best to catch this ball. The wind was going crazy. When she hit the ball, I thought it was out. But I was like, I'm just going to get to the wall and try my best to get it. And then the wind ended up knocking it down. And it was just really a reaction thing to catch that one. The next one that I dove, there was a runner on second base. And I believe we had less than 2 outs. So I knew if that ball got down, she was going to score because she was also a pinch runner. So I knew she had some speed. So I knew I had to at least make it look like I was going to catch the ball to kind of hold her at the bag. But the ball held a little bit longer, so I was able to get there. And then the last one that I caught in foul territory, there's nobody on. Like, what did I have to lose? If I miss it, she gets another pitch and we probably get her out anyways. But and I don't know, just each one I had like a thought process of, if I don't catch this, what happens? If I do catch it, what happens?
Yeah, that's great. And my last question for you about this, and maybe I ask it because I made a pretty critical error in right field of my own in the intramural game that I had. So, maybe you can help me out a little bit. But I thought it was really interesting when you talked about the tendencies of the batters, and obviously like pull hitters versus opposite field hitters and stuff. What do you look for maybe as they're batting before they even hit the ball?
I definitely look at where their foul balls go on certain pitches, and I pay attention to the pitch that's called. So if we have a lefty up and she slices a lot of foul balls, like the one I caught in foul territory, she had fouled, I think, 2 or 3 balls off that way already. So I was anticipating that the ball was going to go that direction. But I can tell a lot from foul balls and like LSU though, their swings are beautiful. They work the right process, so they're a little bit harder to read, and they definitely hit the ball hard. But for certain people, I can tell like with their foul balls or like their practice swings on deck, like what their tendencies might be and where the ball might go.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. And switching topics to some completely different, I couldn't help but notice, in at least all the games I've been at, the couple games I've been in the box, about 15 minutes before first pitch, the team plays a pretty spirited game of hacky sack.
Mhm.
Do you participate in those games first off?
Sometimes I do. It depends on like how I'm feeling, like mentally, like what I need before the game. I participate probably like 75% of the time, and it's usually before the first game. If we play a doubleheader, I typically don't play before the second game, but if I play, I mean, it's just to stay loose and to, uh, I guess just kind of hang out with my teammates, even though we've been together all day already.
Yeah, that coach was kind of telling me that it might be, to stay loose. And he said, softball, it kind of has the reputation of just being a fun sport where people love to have fun and, goof around a little bit. Is that kind of what you get from it? If you're, do you play hacky sack if you're trying to get loose a little bit, or, what makes you want to play?
I do it kind of just to relax myself a little bit. Um, Stay loose, not necessarily. It's just you don't really move around that much with it. But the main reason I go to play is just to kind of relax my mind and get ready for the game.
And who do you think is the best player on the team at hacky sack, not softball?
Either Allison or Kylie.
Allison or Kylie? Well, Jordan, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good,
Hey, Jordan, how are you doing today?
how are you?
I'm doing good. We're just talking to Coach kind of about your transfer process here to OSU, and he said that Allison played a really big part in that. Can you kind of talk about that for a little bit?
Well, when Allison told me that she was transferring our junior year, I was like, dang, like, I can't believe she's like actually leaving. And we had joked a good bit about like, oh, like you and Mo should come. Mo's our other friend from Georgia. But she'd be like, oh, like y'all should come too, or like y'all should do this, y'all should do that. Like just playing around. We never did it, obviously, until COVID happened. But when I talked to her a lot about it before I decided to go into the portal, because her being one of my closest friends, I felt like she could give me a good insight on what the process was like for her. And so when I talked to her about it, she was like, I think you should do it. And I think I can talk to Coach G about maybe getting you here. And that honestly made the process a lot easier for me. Um, this says it's running out of time. It'll end in 10 minutes. Upgrade it?
No, we don't.
Just leave it? Okay, sorry guys. Um, but I lost my train of thought. What did I say last? Sorry.
Allison talked to Coach G about potentially getting you to OSU.
Oh yeah. So that made the process a lot easier for me. And so when I went to the portal, I texted her, I was like, hey, I did it. And then I guess she told Coach G, and then we got in contact. But she definitely gave me like real life insight to what it was like being here. And transferring during COVID, like I wasn't able to come on a visit or like really get to meet the coaches besides over the phone, over Zoom, whatever. So Allison definitely made the transition and the whole process a lot easier. I can't imagine if I would have chosen somewhere else to go, how hard that would have been for me. But the transition was still hard personally because I've only been an hour and a half from home my whole life. And I'm a really big family person. So being 14 hours away from home was really, really hard for me. I didn't get to see my parents or my siblings as much as I wanted to. So that was hard. But this coaching staff and these girls try to make it a lot easier for me, and they like never gave up on me. So yeah.
And then Coach kind of talked about you having that Georgia Bulldog mentality, playing with that chip on your shoulder. I mean, what does that mean to you to hear that?
It means a lot because I mean, growing up, the recruiting process was hard at Georgia. It was hard to stay on the field. I just felt like I always had to be my best self and play my best. And always had to feel like kind of like someone was out to get me. Like if I don't play my best, if I don't do this at this time, I'm going to lose my opportunity. I'm going to lose my spot. So I always play on edge. I always play on my toes. I always play with a chip on my shoulder because I've always had to. So I definitely think I've been able to relax just a little bit more here, um, and be more of a free player. I definitely still have a chip on my shoulder, don't get me wrong, but I felt more free and happy playing rather than constantly feeling like I'm under pressure, like I'm always like about to lose my spot.
All right. Thank you very much, Jordan. You have a good one.
Thank you.
Jordan, I try not to get too many into the questions, but like, I feel like you're kind of just scratching the edge of like the tip of the iceberg there with that. And it seems like kind of where you're going a little bit is kind of the joy of playing maybe and having fun. It sure would appear that you're having fun out there. And so I guess maybe that's the question to ask, like, are you having fun and does that affect how you play?
I'm definitely having fun. I'm the kind of player where I have to feel good, or no, I have to play good to be happy. And I know I'm not hitting my best right now, and I'm still happy. So I think that says a lot about these girls in this program and these coaches, that I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm still having fun and I still want to be out there every game. And I still have a smile on my face, even though I'm not performing at my best right now offensively. So I'm definitely having fun. I'm definitely enjoying myself. And I think that has to do a lot with the girls and the coaches.
And obviously there's so much more to life than softball, and there's so much more to everybody on the team than what happens in a practice or a game or whatever. But like, how do you apply kind of what you just described to life? And is this now becoming part of your own personal growth and your own personal journey?
Yeah, I would say that I'm a very pessimistic person. I think negatively a lot, but I think that being here, it's made me kind of change my mindset on just being more positive and seeing the good in a lot of things rather than harping on the negative or the bad things that happen. And like, for example, with my hitting, this is the easiest thing for me to relate it to. I might not get a hit, but overall, if I have a 15 pitch at bat, that's the positive I'm going to take away instead of saying, oh, well, at the end, I popped up to the shortstop. So I think I've just changed my mindset more on focusing on the positive things in life rather than harping on the negatives.
Thanks so much. Sorry to take you down a whole personal rabbit hole on a Zoom call, but it seemed like you were going that way. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, is that all for Jordan? Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, me. It looks like we got about 5 minutes left, and I got everybody.
Oddly enough, I'm wearing a St. Louis Cardinals shirt.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Well, your sweatshirt makes my question a lot easier to ask.
I just said that. Yeah.
So we were talking about your dad pitching for the Cardinals. I mean, what's that influence been like on your life?
I mean, he's had a huge impact on me and of course on my career as a softball player. He always likes to claim that I'm the son he never had. So I started playing baseball when I was really young, and I didn't switch over to softball till I was about 9 or 10. But he's had a huge impact. He's been my coach for as long as I can remember. And he didn't play too much. I was really young when he finished playing, so I don't remember a lot of that kind of time, but I get to hear all the stories. I get to, listen to him talk about his time when he was playing, but ultimately he's had a huge impact on my career.
And so if I've done my research correctly, he was a pitcher, right? Did
Yeah.
he try to persuade you to become a pitcher?
I pitched when I played baseball. When it when it went over to softball, we did pitching for about 2 months, and that was about it. I feel like I really that just wasn't my thing when I was younger. He definitely just persuaded me to pitch in baseball, but once it came to softball, he really wanted to work with me in terms of hitting and on my infield.
And does he come to the games regularly?
He's been at every single one of them. Yes.
And then just lastly, I mean, you know, how how does it feel to just kind of have, you know, that lifelong, you know, it's always been a part of your life here. You know, I mean, what does that meant, I guess, in your development?
I
Do you feel
mean,
like you have an edge above everybody else?
definitely not. I think that, I'm somebody who has to work for what I've got and where I've gotten to. I definitely don't think that having him as my dad or having him, playing professionally gives me an edge over anybody else. I think that it gives me a little, um, it gives me a little more passion for the game. I think that it gives me just kind of that fire to go be better and work really hard. I guess I just know that I have to work for everything, and he's taught me that.
Thank you so much.
It's about to cut off.
Yeah, Haley, I'll jump in here real quickly, and I'll ask you about another sport that's not softball, hacky sack. I couldn't help but notice that the team they play a little bit like 15 minutes maybe before first pitch, play a little bit by the dugout. First off, are you one of the players that participates in those games?
Yeah, I play like every time that we go out there. It's a great time.
And do you play it to loosen up or just have fun, or does it kind of help with hand-eye coordination before the game, or a tradition? Why do you play?
I think that we just kind of, I would say it's almost a tradition now. I think that when we come out, it's always like, hey, we have a little bit of extra time. Let's grab the hacky, let's go play. And we always grab a couple of people that, we think are really good so we can get a really good game going. But I think that it's just a really fun time. And in my opinion, unlike Jordan, I actually think that it keeps me a little warm. I play to like actually play. Like it's not just a game. Like there's a few of us that play competitively to try and keep the ball up. So it actually gets my heart rate going and gets me a little excited for the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say from what I saw, the hacky sack did not hit the ball much. Unlike when my brother Ben and I play in our room, sometimes the hacky sack did not hit the ground. Who's the best player on the team?
I would probably have to agree with Jordan and go with Allison and Kylie. They're pretty good, but I would throw myself up there a little bit. I'm pretty good at it.
That's great. Well, the last thing I'll ask you.